Theta homies, so we're gonna round up the more recent news of what has happened, especially with Theta Network of this last coming weeks or so. We're gonna just highlight some of the things from the Theta EuroCon of 2025, some of Theta's AMA with Jihee, Wes, and I believe Simon and also Mitch that was in the discussion, so we'll see some of the videos there. So we're gonna go on to X here, seeing that. Starting off with Mitch, just some clarification before diving into this summary of the AMA as well. It says clarification on the internal metrics for Theta Network, 260 million plus large language model tokens processed in August of 2025 across partners, pro sports, and esports. 104,000 plus model API requests, majority processed on Edge Cloud clients paid in T-Fuel, additionally with 5,000 Edge Cloud registered Gen AI developers on the platform. So just a little bit of the numbers. Jihee did mention some of the metrics, finally or hopefully being able to be like on a sub chain, and then from there you'll be able to see all the statistics with Theta Network in general. But that really would help, especially consumers like ourselves who are investing in the project. It's nice to see those type of numbers. So here's like a quick Q&A summary recap with the key insights from their AMA. Here is just some of the questions. I think they may have posted just like one by one, so I believe this may be in order. So here I'll do is read some of the questions, and then I'll also play some of the videos so it relates to the question. So I'll try to find my best in terms of the timestamps. I'll try to put it somewhere in the corner of the video, so for those who want to watch the AMA, you can always jump to the timestamp that you'll see. So initially you'll see here, how do you feel about the current crypto and market, and how does Theta play into it?
And yeah, I could kick things off about the state of the market. I mean, that's been an interesting one this last year. Obviously, especially I live in Europe now, but as an American, seeing things through the crypto market of that lens, it's been a wild ride, certainly, since Trump came back into office. In a lot of ways, good. I mean, crypto regulation has definitely moved forward, thanks to a lot of like blockchain association and some other groups that are pushing some really great legislation forward. It's certainly been reflected in the Bitcoin price. Everyone knows about that. For other cryptocurrencies, including Theta, altcoins, it's been more of a mixed bag. So we always say it's you say it's a bull market, but it's been a very strange one, I think, where it's not like the old days where everything seemed moved in lockstep. For those of you who've been OGs, been around for many years, but I do think that it's moving away from sort of the early naive sort of crypto space where everything just moved in lockstep because no one gave a damn about what was actually happening or being built or the fundamentals. So it probably will be a different dynamic where instead of it just being speculative, volatile price movements for no reason, it's going to be more about we have to build up the demand and the usage of it the old-fashioned way, which is probably a sign of maturity. So I know it's a disappointing market state in some cases for that, but I think it's for the right reasons. And so, I think we continue to do what we're doing, building adoption of Theta through our wonderful partners we're working with, or with the ecosystem teams like the ones building here. In the long term, that's going to matter more than just up and downs of the market. Guys, you probably have some thoughts you want to share on that too.
Yeah, agreed, Wes. I think we're generally very positive. I think this market is a little bit sort of extended or stretched out. There's a bunch of different macroeconomic factors that I think are at play a lot more today than it was back in 2021. But I think there's going to be rotation of capital from the traditional Bitcoin, Ethereum to altcoins. I think it's a question of when, not if. And I think for us, at Theta, we're pretty excited. We have a lot of partners that we're working with that we haven't yet announced. And so, there's a lot of stuff that we're going to be sharing today, including exchanges and all this stuff, right, that you guys care about. So very optimistic.
Yeah, so I just want to add two data points. So first of all, it's not financial advice, right? So just disclaimer, but Bitcoin dominance has been on a decline, right? Since early July. I think it was as high as like 64%, but it's now hovering around 57%, right? So which is a good sign for altcoins. And also on CoinMarketCap, it has a what they call the alt season index. It's been shifting towards the altcoin pretty consistently since in the past few weeks. So based on this data point, so personally, I'm pretty bullish for the altcoins in the upcoming weeks and months.
Crow partnership, so this is for Crypto.com, and US Treasury token talks. With the recent Theta Crypto.com partnership, how have you discussed the US Treasury Crow token interest? Plans for the Coinbase listing? What's holding back a Coinbase listing? Any plans?
The first question from the audience, one more question from my side. When Coinbase, what's holding Theta back, or is there anything planned?
Yeah, our favorite one ever, of course. Yeah, I mean, it's the Coinbase one was tricky for a long time. I know we've talked about this ad nauseum, but for a long time we tried to shy away with it until the change in administration, and now it's become tricky with them because there's a new L1. There's a cost benefit for them to list. Of course, it's a much bigger lift to list Theta in a new blockchain than just to list another token. That's just like flipping a switch from a technical lift perspective. So we continue to talk to them. It's kind of a bit of a negotiation point of what makes this worthwhile. And despite no matter what they will always say about listing fees, that is not true, that there's not an economic cost to listing. But now that there is a US listing for Crypto.com, we hope that it's at least alleviated a lot of the pressure because you know, a lot of holders want to see it just because they expect the movement on a Coinbase listing. But for a lot of people, it's a practical concern too. If you live in the US, you simply can't acquire it or sell it. So, you know, that was, I think, important to just get our first foothold in there and have a US listing. And then the other exchanges that we're all talking to, we hopefully have a little more leverage on here because we have access for Americans. Now it's just about more access points and more liquidity.
Yeah, and I think with a little bit more insight there, you know, with Coinbase in particular, I think it's really important, and at least a few other very prominent folks on X pointed out that even though Coinbase says there's no listing fee, well, as of, you know, a few months ago, it's very much a listing fee, and we're talking about 8 figures in terms of marketing budget. With a 0 listing fee, but 8-figure marketing budget, it's still a very large commitment. You know, I think for us, it's really a trade-off, an ROI kind of thought process. You know, certainly Coinbase is not the only option out there for us. We're very happy with Crypto.com, and you know, we're seeing that the volumes on Crypto.com are essentially comparable to Coinbase in some cases, but there's other exchanges, and we're deep conversation with those other exchanges. So I think we're in a good place. You know, we do hear, of course, from the community, all of you, when Coinbase all the time, but I think that you know, if all goes well in due time, I think we may be on the majority of these exchanges. So it's a question of how we go about getting there.
Current state and future of ThetaDrop. What is the status and plans for ThetaDrop and T-Drop token?
What's the current state and what are the future possibilities and plans about the T-Drop token? Yeah,
so we've talked a little bit about sort of revamping that since it's not as top of mind for the ThetaDrop platform anymore. And yeah, there's been some high-level talks about, I should probably defer to it. So there's some very interesting stuff. I just don't know what's kosher to say publicly yet. Maybe you guys want to say exactly where that direction's going.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I think a little bit of the background, the context. T-Drop originally was sort of the token that we've implemented as the liquidity mining, the reward token for the NFT marketplace. And now we're really looking at the opportunity to rebrand T-Drop to become sort of the native token for all the AI agents and starting with the chatbot implementations, right? Which again, we hear a lot of community feedback and in some cases FUD that a chatbot is not a chatbot. But in our case, the chatbot is very strategic. It's really a way, it's a solution that gets us into a lot of these Global 1000 companies, a lot of these sports and esports and all of these corporate partners as a starting point. From the chatbot, that becomes a launching point where we can launch AI agents and agent-to-agent transactions and interactions, fan engagement, of course, and many other types of interactions which can be brought on chain. And so really the next step is really thinking about if we are to look at T-Drop potentially renamed, potentially remaining as T-Drop as a reward mechanism for engaging with these agents, or if you are to build your own agent that represents you with a unique wallet, let's say, you know, what are the liquidity mining rewards that can be granted back to to you or to the agent. And so with that in mind, we're actively working with a bunch of our partners. As you know, some of them are fairly large and established. Certainly Marseille team, FC Seoul, a few other football teams we haven't yet announced, NBA, et cetera. And so we are working, really getting their feedback, because ultimately this new rebranded token will live within their real estate, right? Will live within their website or their app. So we want to make sure we do this carefully. So we're working on this, and so we'll probably announce and probably share something as we get towards the end of the year or into 2026 planning. There's a lot of forward-looking stuff, and we'll want to make sure we do this properly. So it's absolutely in the works.
Samsung TV as Theta Edge node. Just to pause on this one, I was just a little skeptical at first in terms of how this would play out, but it seems like Theta Network is adjusting the platform when it comes to streaming and delivery and focusing a little bit more on AI agents, just because it seems like that's where the whole market trend is going. Is there an issue with streaming? Possibly, because there was that recent Netflix, so I think it was Logan Paul or Jake Paul, one of the Paul brothers was streaming a fight on Netflix, and it seems like there's a huge issue with that streaming event, but I believe other than that, it seems like AI agents seems like the next topic. I'm just hoping that Theta Network doesn't lose its, like, I guess, reason why they are creating their platform, but I don't know. I'm still pretty skeptical nowadays when it comes to investing, so definitely do your own research, guys, before investing altogether. But it's near the end of 2025 when this video is going to be posted, or at least we're in the quarter 4 of 2025. I did mention that if things don't pan out too well for the end of this year, it's probably hard for the team to really just bounce back from it, but it seems like they're still making new partners, so I feel like that's just a plus with other institutions, college universities, sports teams, esports teams, and just other platforms in general. I'll be able to make another post about this kind of new update with Theta Network next week for our partner that they announced in November of 2024 and the updates with that. Just staying focused with this AMA, talking about when will Edge Cloud metrics be available, when can we see the Edge Cloud metrics that I kind of mentioned earlier. He kind of nicely introduces this topic because I feel like the metrics are pretty important for people to see how the whole network is doing. The roadmap for 2026 for Theta, is there a public 2026 roadmap? It seems like they're still working on it, so there hasn't been anything to announce yet. It's still kind of like early to really announce anything like that, I'd say, just because it's still 2025, a few more months. I would say by November there should be some sort of release, but that's just me kind of guessing and throwing things out there. Additionally, Theta patents and edge cloud compute in cars and robotics. Thoughts on patents coverage edge compute in cars and robots, especially with Elon Musk. So this was mentioned earlier, and there was even a post about it. I'll try to find it because Elon Musk did mention about edge computing and how GPUs are going to be that new source for information, or like gold in a sense, because it seems like that's just how everyone's daily lives is now, revolving around AI, and that does take up some sort of power, like a fair amount. So having those resources rather than having all these infrastructures, you do have Theta Network using the extra bandwidth from all the community edge nodes. But again, this is all speculative. Definitely do your own research, guys. It just seems like that just kind of makes sense for me, that Theta Network has all these partners, the excess bandwidth, so why not use that bandwidth for the GPUs and whatever AI models that need to be completed. Additionally, the mobile app updates and future. Expect mobile updates, future and roll. So we'll see as to how Jihe is going to announce it, because it seems like there has been too much updates since, but when it comes to the Theta Network app itself, I feel like it's not doing so well. I do have an iPhone, so it's kind of hard for me to really speak on that entirely. Other things is future validator nodes and decentralization. More partners as validators for decentralization. They also talked about the recent Marseille football club, as well as I think there's an annual like releasing of Theta Labs tokens to sell, but I don't know if that necessarily means that they're going to have partners or if they're selling off their tokens just in general. Again, that's why I'm a little more skeptical as to the success with Theta Network. I feel like it's within reason, just because it's hard to say. We haven't seen too much of a price bump when it comes to Theta Network, but hopefully when this video is posted, there probably won't really be too much of a big price spike, but it just seems a little iffy, especially if the price isn't moving and Theta Network is still selling off their tokens. Just my own opinion. Put your thoughts and comments down below. Other big things is, like, especially this one, so why partner with academia, sports, esports, reasons for focusing on these sectors worldwide. Jihe does mention that something really great in terms of having all these students who are using these in universities, and then when they are graduating they'll be able to find jobs, and then from there they'll be able to be talking to any other peers about the tools that they've used, and if they use Theta Network and then they actually use it in their post-grad job, that could just be the best advertisement, because word of mouth is always just the best way, I would say, when it comes to reliability, because people being like, oh yeah, I experienced this and that, so why not use it because it helped out. So again, that's just feel like a long-term type of partnerships when it comes to that, because you're investing in students and then it's going to take some time for them to find jobs, X, Y, and Z. But it seems like since they are partnering with all these other sports and media platforms, big companies, that it seems like other companies may potentially also join Theta Network ranks along with the current partners that they have. And even Jihee and Wes, as like the whole Theta Labs team, have mentioned that seems like the best way to get more people to onboard Theta Network. But this is just like a few things that I mentioned. I feel like it's just nice to highlight just because it's what I remember while watching, and then I was able to take the notes down. So like again, I said when I mention all these comments here, I'll try to read the comment, the post, and then play the clip that's regarding to it, and then kind of jump back and forth between each one. Just a few things here I do want to mention as well. Here is the whole, looks like Theta AMA EuroCon. This starts here roughly at this mark, the 4-hour 52-minute mark. So we shall see as to how Theta Network just progresses. Hopefully we'll see bigger names and just platforms joining Theta Network. That's where I keep my fingers crossed. And then last fun news I do want to mention, since we're talking all about metrics and stats about Theta, here is that download. So here, Lavita app just hit top 10 free in healthcare and fitness, 50,000 plus downloads on Google Play. Try Lavita free today. Search Lavita AI in your app store. Your feedback is important. Please rate and review the app. Together we'll transform the future of personalized healthcare. So again, it's an Android. I do also have mine on my phone, like I've shown in previous videos itself, but I don't know if it's going to be that many people have actually downloaded it. It seems like a lot of people for an app that hasn't really launched too much, but again, maybe that Lavita is focusing this platform in other parts of the world rather than just in the United States, but that's just my own opinion, guys. We shall see. If you use the app somewhere in the outside the United States, just comment down below. Even if you do use it in the United States, why not share your opinion on it? For me, I haven't really uploaded any documents or images on it, so it's kind of hard for me to say other than just using the medical sphere. But I really am happy to see Theta Network continue to just be in the front of their project, explaining as much as they can without disrupting any NDAs or anything that might ruin their timeline. But again, definitely do your own research, guys, before investing. Thank you as always for coming back to the channel, and really looking forward to seeing what else Theta Network has in store for us for all these other partners. But overall, that's all I really have for today's video, guys. Thank you so much if you're an OG viewer and subscriber and coming back to the channel. Would not be here without you. If you're a new viewer though, trying to find as much Theta news, updates, NFTs, or any kind of Theta partnerships, please hit that like and subscribe button. Check out all the links down below in the description for all the links that I posted in this video, as well as staking your Theta tokens to my Guardian node. Either way, help out my channel, help the Theta Network, but overall help yourselves out. Earn as much T-Fuel passively as possible and utilize it however you want on Theta Drop, Open Theta, any of the subchains on Theta Network, or just withdrawing it back to your wallet. Really am excited for the future of Theta Network, future partners, any collaborations, businesses, things like that. I'm still going to be optimistic. Of course, that's the reason why this channel is still growing and people are still subscribing to the channel and people are still staking. So I'm glad to say that there's still hundreds of thousands of Theta tokens on my Guardian node. I am also thankful for the sponsors that are coming onto the channel. I also would not be here without you guys, so thank you very much. Really am looking forward to the future of Theta though. Until the next Theta video, till the next Theta update, it is your boy Justinpacete, so try to keep up. Alright, deuces.